Hello, everybody. This is Dorcas Chandler at dorcasgazelle.com. Wow, I know it's been a while since I've been online with my videotaping, but a lot has been going on, and I'm just grateful to be back. And I've been working on my calendars and my book, and I think I told you about that on the last taping. I'm not sure because it's been a while. But anyway, I finished my calendar and I'm getting them out early, and I'm grateful for that. And I finished my first proof on my book, and now it's being proofread again, and we'll be doing the second proof. And hopefully by the end of October or November, my book will go. I do self publishing because I have my own publishing company, but I send it out to be professionally bind. So I'm just excited about that. I'm excited about my calendars because I did my calendars totally different this year. And it took a little bit of time to get them done, but I'm finished with them early. So I'm grateful for that. And any of you all that would like a calendar, that subscribe to my YouTube channel or just listen to me on Facebook, YouTube, on my website. If you would like one, just email me and send me your information, and I would be more than glad to get you out a calendar. My book is going to be on Amazon and also on my business website. I'm getting ready to update my business website, dorcasdesigns.com, so that I can put my bookstore on there so you'll be able to purchase them there. So I'm just grateful about all of the things that are happening to me. I've had another birthday, as most of you know, or some of you know, and it was wonderful. I've never had a birthday like I had this year, and it was just so much love that was being poured into me. Wow. I didn't even recognize how much people really loved me. But I think at this year, when this year came, and all the calls and the texts, it started at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't finish taking telephone calls until like 6 o'clock that night. I mean, people was calling me from all over the world, all over the place. People were calling me, and I was like, my goodness. And it made me look at, like, Dorcas, what do you celebrate people's birthday? I forget people's birthday, and people were calling me, and I just felt so honored and so grateful to God that He allowed me to be in a lot of people's lives. It's just great stuff. And so then right after my birthday, then I was preparing to go on my vacation, and I was excited about going, just getting out of the house, doing something different. And at the same time, um, kind of wondering how things were going to go because of my back. I didn't want to go and be uncomfortable. And so I was trying to make provisions at the end, which I should have been doing all the time. But I was trying to see, I saw this thing on TV where you can sit on this egg pillow. It's called egg cushion pillow. I think that's the name of it. That thing is wonderful because we took a road trip, and we were going up the backside of the mountain, and that's all I can tell you. And our final destination was going to be in Flagstaff. We were going to stay there, but we were going to go a lot of different other places. And I tell you, I had the time of my life because I was just so grateful, like I said, to be out and be among people because I love people. And so my disability, or because of my back and my things that are going on in my body, a lot of times I can't get out like I used to. And so anyway, we went up the backside of this mountain to get to Flagstaff. We didn't take the freeway. We went the back way, the scenic way. And it was wonderful just to be among nature. And then we got to this location. I don't know what the town was, Payson or something like that. And we stopped at this restaurant. It's not a restaurant, fast food place, and to go in and use the restroom and come out, and then they went back in and I was traveling with Lori and Catherine. They went back in and got something to eat. So then I'm sitting outside on this bench, and so this man comes by, and so I look at him, and I mean, he's got this big old thing on his back, a backpack, and this big old thing of water on his a water jug, and I say, "Hey, how you doing?" And the guy, he turned and he looked at me, and he was like, "I'm doing fine." I said, "Man, you look like you're weighted down. Are you going somewhere?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm on my way. I'm walking to Venice Beach." I said, "What?" And he said, "I'm walking to Venice Beach." Venice Beach in California? And he said, "Yeah." He said, that was his location. And he had the neatest story. And so I was there talking to him and everything, and I was just really glad to meet him, and we talked and everything, and I said, "Do you need something to eat?" And he was like, "No, I'm fine." And so then when Lori and them came out, Lori said, "Well, do you want a banana?" And so he said, "Well, yeah, I could take a banana." So Lori went to the bed and got him a banana and stuff, and we prayed with him. He went on his way. And so I was just so excited about his story and the resilience of the mind. And because this man has put in his mind that he's going to walk to California, and he was he his mind was set up. I mean, it was made up, rather, that this is what he was going to do, and it was going to take him some days, and he had everything that he needed. And so, wow, I was just intrigued by this man. So we go on, and we finally reach our destination in Flagstaff, and we couldn't get in our hotel room yet, so we go to this place where up on this hill where you can see the stars, and the moon from the sky. And so I'm looking, and in my mind, that didn't really impress me. That was not something that would have been the last thing that I would have did. But because I was with my friends, whatever they wanted to do, that's what we did. So we went into this place, and looking up on the wall and looking at the prices, my crazy self, I'm like, man, I didn't say anything, but I was saying, honey, we could go outside at night and look at the stars and the moon for free. And I was like, I just couldn't get why they wanted to do it. So anyway, I said, Dorcas, just shut up and just go with the flow. And that's what I did. And then they said, do we really want to do this? And so I was like waiting to see. And then they said, nah, let's don't do it. And I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Because I thought, my goodness, I didn't want to do it. But anyway, and the man told her, he said that it depends on the weather. And if it starts raining, you're not going to be able to see. So what happened was we went into the gift shop. We came out of the gift shop. It was pouring down rain like I have never seen it. And we're on the top of this hill in Flagstaff, and this narrow road that we have to go down. And then they had pushed me up in my wheelchair, and Lori had to come and get the van, and I got soaking wet. And so, but it was cool. We were laughing and we just had a good time and everything. And so then we decided, well, let's just go on and go out to dinner. And so we go out to dinner, and it's pouring down rain again. I mean, I'm not saying raining. I'm saying pouring down rain. So now I'm saying, no, I can't be using a wheelchair. I just need to walk. And so I got out and I started walking, got to the door. I was soaking wet. We went in there, and all of us were wet, And we went in there, we sat down, and we had dinner. We just had a good time, good fellowship. I mean, good fellowship. And just laughing, and just everything was just great. And so then we finally go, and we get ready to get up and go. And so this young guy comes from nowhere. Hey, let me get the door for you. And I said, wow. And, so the next thing you might know, or, if you don't know me, I start talking to him. What's your name? And I said, hey, I'm Dorcas. And, we just talked and stuff. And I was just so impressed that people are still very cordial. Even in a cruel world, there are still really good people, because I was meeting, and not me, but we were meeting really good people all the way. So then the thing happened was that when we got ready to go into the hotel, um, having such a good time, and I talk about hedonic adaptation, having such a good time, but really trying to stay centered, because we don't never know when life or things shift. So they put me in the wheelchair because we got to walk up this real long ramp. We're going to the hotel. Then you go in, then you got to turn, and you got to walk down this hall, and then you got to turn again, and then you got to walk down this really long hall to get to my room, because I was in the room by myself. And so when I got in the wheelchair, and Catherine started to push me, the curb and the pavement from the parking lot had a slit in it. And so what happened was it flipped me forward. Oh my goodness. I was like 1 inch from being on the ground, but God didn't let me fall. And so I'm holding on and I'm pushing with my feet. And I'm telling you, it was just a very close call. So anyway, I get in the room and we're still having fun and everything. And but when I get up in the middle of the night to go to the restroom, I realize, oh my goodness, Dorcas, you can't walk. I mean, I could hardly walk to the bathroom. My muscles in my legs had just tightened up on me. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And that next day, we were supposed to be going to the Grand Canyon. I'm telling you this for a reason. And so I didn't want to go to the Grand Canyon anyway. But I was going to go because I was with them. And so that morning when we were having breakfast, they came to my room and we were having breakfast together. And I told them, I said, you know what? I can hardly walk. Because my legs, it wasn't my back this time, it was my legs. The muscles in my legs just tightened up so, and I couldn't hardly walk. So they were like, come on, Dorcas, we're all going to be together. We're going to have fun. We want you to go. And all this stuff. And I said, I told you that I can't walk good. And they were like, Dorcas. And then when Lori said, well, you didn't want to go anyway. And I was like, well, yeah, I didn't want to go. But I didn't want to not go under those circumstances because I had already made up my mind. Anyway, I say to them, okay, I'm going to go. And I had my ibuprofen there, and so I said, you got to do this. If I'd have known that my muscles was going to be that tight, I'd have took a muscle relaxer. But I didn't take a muscle relaxer because I don't want to be asleep. And so anyway, we go to the Grand Canyon. And I just feel like, I don't know why I'm going. I don't think my body is saying don't go, but my mind is saying go. And it just didn't make sense to me because I couldn't walk. And Lori says, well, we're going to have dinner at this hotel in the Grand Canyon, and we'll just leave you there, and you could do your thing by talking to people. And they just started laughing. And I said, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I don't need to see a hole in the wall, ground or whatever. And I could just stay in the hotel. We get to the hotel, and the hotel, El Dorado or whoever the name of it is, has all these steps. And I said, what in the world? There was no handicap accessibility for me to get in there. And I said, there is no way, by the way that my legs are feeling right about now, that I can even try to walk up these steps. So what ended up happening, I ended up having to stay in the car. So when they came back and we finally left, I still felt like I needed to come, but I was mad at myself because I came and I knew that something was wrong with me. Dorcas, you should have stayed back. And so anyway, we get down and we're going and stuff. And so Lori says, okay, I feel like that we need to have a good meal. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I didn't say it out loud. I'm saying it to myself. I said, I told them my legs was hurting. Now they're talking about going somewhere and eat. And so, I didn't say anything. And so they said, where would you like to eat? It doesn't matter. I was just going with the flow because there was like I can't explain to you what I felt inside of me. One thing was saying, could you take me to the hotel? The other thing was saying, you need to keep hanging out with them. And so, anyway, we get to the restaurant. I'm having to walk in the restaurant. And they did ask me, Dorcas, do you want your wheelchair? And I told them no. And so I walked in the restaurant. And when we got in the restaurant, Lori was saying, well, do you want it? We could sit over by the window. Forget the window. I didn't want to sit by the window. I wanted to sit by the door that was going to be closer to me to get out because of the way that my legs are certain. So anyway, I'm sitting there. And the way that my table was faced, there was a lady facing me in the next table. And so I just say to this lady, I say, how are you doing, ma'am? And she says, fine. I'm going somewhere with this story. Stick with me. And so I said, oh. I said, are you from here? I talk to everybody. And she says, no, I'm not from here. I said, me either. I said, I'm from Phoenix. And she said, really? I said, yeah. And she said she was from the Navajo country. She named somewhere where she was off of an Indian reservation. And I said, oh. And I said, my name is Dorcas. I said, what's yours? And she said, my name is Betty. And I said, oh, okay. And she said, Dorcas? I said, yeah. She said, well, I'm down here because in the morning I'm going to have surgery. And this is the hospital, the closest hospital to me. And so they're putting me up tonight because in the morning I'm having surgery. I could see the pain or the anxiety that, when she was talking to me. And I said, oh, I said, okay. I said, but you know what? I believe that God is going to go with you in that operating room. And she said, thank you so much, Dorcas. I said, no, I do. I said, and God is going to guide the doctors and the nurses and everybody that touches you. He is going to guide them. And she said, thank you. I said, yeah. And so all of a sudden, then this other girl walks up. This is an older lady that I was talking to named Betty. But then this other girl walks up. And I said, is this your daughter? And she said, yeah. And I said, hi. I said, I'm Dorcas. And she said, Dorcas? And I said, yeah. And she said, that's a Bible name. And I said, whoa. I said, somebody reads the Bible. Everybody that I tell my name, they're like, what kind of name is that? Where did you get that name from? What did your mom, what was she thinking? Just all this other stuff. But here this lady is from the Indian reservation who knew what Dorcas was and what Dorcas meant. And we started talking. And she said to me, she had a back condition. Her spine, some disc was slipped or something. And she had been in the bed and she couldn't walk. Oh my goodness. So there I was with my injury of my back, and I'm able to talk to her. And I told her, I said, but the more weight I get off of me, the better I feel. I said, and I have a website that I'm trying to encourage people to do the right thing, and I'm trying to do it myself. And she said, Dorcas, I need that website. And I gave her the website. And so we talked a little bit more. She sat down. Her and her mom continued their meal, and then our meal came. And so we began to eat. And this is where I'm going with this. After they were there, because they were there when we came, so they got up to leave. And I said, Betty. And she looked at me. I said, could you come here? And so Betty came over to my table. I said, hey, I mean, everything is going to be all right. She said, thank you, Dorcas. And I said, God is going to guide the doctors and the nurses for this surgery that you're going in. And she's like, oh, Dorcas, thank you. And so what happened was, while I'm talking to Betty, she kind of dropped her head. And when she dropped her head, I took my face and literally just the side of my face and just pushed it up against Betty's face. And I said, Betty, and I was hugging her. I said, it's going to be okay. And so I just said, Father, in the name of Jesus, I began to pray for her. I said, Lord, I thank you for giving her peace and guide the doctors and the nurses that touch her body. Guide them, direct them in Jesus' name. Amen. Betty took me and just grabbed me. Grabbed me. And I held her back. A woman that I don't even know. But that I was feeling inside of me go anyway was there was somebody in a restaurant that needed a hug. And so then after she hugged me, then her daughter hugged me, and they went on their way. And I was so intrigued by their story and what was going on in their life. And when I got up and we got ready to leave and I walked out and got in the van, it was still on my mind that God would allow me to go to Grand Canyon and then be there for Betty. And so when I got back to the hotel, when we got back to the hotel after dinner, the same legs that was aching like crazy, what I did was I stood up and they had my wheelchair. You want your wheelchair? And I said, no, I'm going to walk it. And I walked up the ramp, which was not a short ramp, and I walked that ramp. And when I walked that ramp and when they took the key to push it up against that thing to open the door for the hotel, I walked that aisle, that hallway. I turned and I kept walking. And they were like, well, Dorcas, do you want your wheelchair? I just kept walking. And the reason why I kept walking was because it could have been me in that hospital room that day because of the fact I almost hit the ground. But it wasn't me. And I was thanking God for how he protected me and allowed me to meet the neatest lady that, she was just so humble in her spirit. And when I got in the room and I just fell on the bed, and after they left out my room, I just said, you know what, God, this trip has blessed me because it has allowed me to see people in a different manner. And it let me know that, Dorcas, you know how much you love people. Now I want you to know how much people love you. That woman squeezed me so tight. And she didn't even know me. And it's like, what about your friends that sometimes you think that they don't really understand, but they really love you. You have people that you have no idea how much they love you. You don't know how much that lady really appreciated you giving her a hug. This trip was so special to me because it's part of my journey. And what God is showing me is, Dorcas, you love deep. But you got to understand, people love you deep just like you love them. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. And then one thing, when I'm laying across the bed and tears just begin to roll down my face, and it's one thing to know pain. It's one thing to say my body is in pain. But as I laid there, it was like, but it's another thing to know what pain does to a person. And so when I walk in a room or when I see somebody in pain, I don't know, I can sense that something is wrong. And it's because I know what pain feels like and I know what pain can do to us. Pain can cause a person to be very fearful. It can cause anxiety. It can cause depression. It can cause us to act out of character. Pain. Pain can also drive us to our destiny or cause us to rethink our lives and do something different. And I'm telling you, I had the time of my life just meeting all those people. And that's not all the people that we met, because we stopped in before we got to the Grand Canyon, and we met a man and we talked to him and gave him money. And I mean, we met a lot of people. So Lori started writing down the people's name, and they're like, you're the greeter. And I was just so grateful that God let me touch people. But not only did he let me touch people, those people touched me back. How great is our God. And I felt so good coming back, and I know that, and we had just a wonderful time of fellowship. And that was just my vacation journey. And we stayed at the hotel, and it was just really, I mean, the rooms were fabulous. And oh my goodness, my room was fabulous. And so that even made my journey even much better, because I like good things. But anyway, I want to tell you, reach out and touch somebody, because you never know that the person that you're talking to just might need a hug. And I just wanted to come on and tell you, my book is coming out. I'm excited about my book, my calendars. I'm just excited about this journey and the things that I'm learning about who? About Dorcas, about just life. And that's what in part of my book says, live life. And that's what I plan on doing. Now I plan on getting myself up, getting in the gym, and just doing some things and getting out of this house. Because I realize how much people mean to me. And I'm ready. And I hope you are too. So no matter what you're going through, I don't minimize that or take it lightly. But this is what I want to tell you. You just might need a hug. That's all. I mean, that lady hugged me, and I mean, she's going into surgery. She's out of surgery. I asked her what time she was supposed to be there. She was supposed to be there at 9. What time was her surgery? 12 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to be praying for you. And I kept that lady in my spirit all day. Betty. I may never see her again. But I tell you what, she's part of my transformation. Because a perfect stranger can reciprocate, can give something back to you that you're giving to them. Bingo. Hey, I love you. I hope not to be as long with my webcasting, because I know I lose listeners. But I got to get my book. I got to get my book out of here. I'm doing my calendars. I'm already printing them. I'm printing my calendars here, but my book will be print from a professional. And so anyway, go and love somebody. It could be in your family. Love is precious. I love you. This is Dorcas Chandler at dorcasgazelle.com.